What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in. This is a special thing. You're not used to seeing this layout with not just one. We got three little bubbles here, three little isolated bubbles where we are more than 6 feet apart. Social distancing. I'm moving too much for Dave. I'm all pixelated. Dave.
Choppy.
But welcome in, guys, to this is something special we're doing. This is a Discord mock draft. And before I explain everything, thank you guys for coming in, checking this out. I am joined with not just one beautiful co-host today, but I'm joined with two beautiful co-hosts, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And Soapy Muffin.
Hey.
I tried to do the hand thing down. It didn't work. I'm so used to having you guys next to me. But yeah, this is our Discord mock draft. So basically what Dave, Soapy, and I did was we asked the Discord who wants to take control of a team for a mock draft. They said yes. We gave a team to a Discord owner. We had to double up some because I think we had about four, 5, or 6 teams that were untaken. I think it was more towards 4. Everyone got a team, and then we basically asked, okay, this person's on the clock. Who are you taking? So what Dave, Soapy, and I are going to do is not just read it off to you guys, but we're going to react to this. It's basically a mock the mock kind of a situation. But it's basically us three doing it with the Discord. Also, I should bring this up. Don't mind Dave over here. Discord is just being fucky ever since the show ended. We
recorded an entire show where we didn't have this problem.
Yep. And then apparently I'm pixelated on his end. He's pixelated on my end. Soapy's like, I don't have to worry about that because I don't use a camera. You're good right now, Dave, but it'll stay like that. You'll be good and then you'll go back. So just don't mind it. It's like Soapy's internet. We just ignore it. But basically, before we start, I'm just going to read off the whole thing. And then we'll just kind of talk about what we want to talk about. So here's the draft. I'll have a nice graphic up there for you guys. At number 1, Ben, the T-Wolves, taking Anthony Edwards. Then we had Josue on the board with the Warriors, taking James Wiseman. JD with the Hornets took LaMelo Ball. Sam with the Bulls took Denny Abdia. Then we got Mike, or iMoney, taking Obi Toppin with the 5th pick for the Cavs. Then Reason for You with the Hawks, taking Tyrese Halliburton. Tim with the Pistons, Soapy didn't let you down. Killian Hayes was the pick at number 7. Then King E with the Knicks, taking Devin Vassell. Lambhead 11 with the Wizards, going with Isaac Okoro. Alexis with the Suns, going Kira Lewis Jr. Chainsaw Chief with the Spurs, going Sadiq Bey. Dingus with the Kings, going Tyrese Maxey. The Pelicans at, what would that be, 13, Philly Sean took Trey Jones, guard out of Duke. Then JD with the Celtics, taking Onyeka Okongwu at 14. Magic, Mystic Man 775, or 776, pardon me, taking Tyrell Terry. The Blazers, Eric Dude, taking Patrick Williams. The Timberwolves, Ben, 2nd pick, took Jalen Smith out of Maryland. Then Monoball Eterno with the Mavs, taking Precious Achua from Memphis. Sam then with the Nets, going Aaron Nesmith. Pat Hill with the Heat, going Cole Anthony. Jake with the 76ers, going Isaiah Joe. JD with the Nuggets, going Desmond Bane. We've got Bean Gavin in the Jazz, going Alexei Pokusevsky. Drew with the Bucks, going RJ Hampton. Raph with the Thunder, going Leandro Balmero. JD with the Celtics again. Josh Green was his pick. Kingy with the Knicks, going Malachi Flynn. Eric made the pick for the Lakers, but since recording this, the Lakers have traded the pick, so Dave got to make the pick for this one. Jaden McDaniels just to the Thunder. Originally, Eric had Cassius Winston going to the Lakers before it got traded. Philly Sean with the Raptors, going Nico Mannion, and then rounding everything out, JD with the Celtics, going Vernon Carey Jr. out of Duke. And guys, I think the first thing we need to touch is, how did Onyeka Okongwu go all the way to JD, number 14 at the Celtics? How the fuck did that happen?
See, whenever I first saw that, I started looking over it, and I'm like, all right, how many players did go that went above him are worse than him? Mm-hmm. And man, there's quite a bit.
Yeah, I completely am befuddled by many picks here.
Go ahead, Dave. Mock the mock, Dave. Be critical, Dave.
They're all our fans, and I love them all equally, but I don't agree with a lot of these picks.
Hey, if you can't take criticism from Dave, you signed up for the wrong Discord mock. That's what you signed up for.
Correct. You should know what you're getting into. If you've ever heard me talk, I criticize. It's what I do. It's my gift to the world. They don't appreciate it, but it's my gift. So Onyeka Okongwu on most big boards is between 3 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And yet in our mock draft, he has now fallen to 14. And I know this is a gift package wrapped specifically for the Celtics. So I'm wondering, number one, is this some large scale collusion going on where we're just like, oh, we're just gonna meme it into possibility here where the Celtics walk away with somehow Onyeka Okongwu without having to trade up for him, which is what has been mocked potentially before, which is nuts to me. But I mean, I'm befuddled. I understand some guys going ahead of him, but the one that's just like, there's no way this happens is the Wizards.
Yep.
Lambhead jumping up there, and he took Isaac Okoro, who I know there's been talk around Isaac Okoro in the Wizards, and he's someone who people have a very high opinion of. I do not share that opinion. But the Wizards had already been heavily mocked Onyeka Okongwu. There were leaks out of the Wizards organization that they were in love with this kid, that they would absolutely not let him fall past 9. So how did he fall past 9?
I mean, and that's the thing. We're not talking about the Wizards front office. We're talking about Lambhead. And like, that's the thing of like, I was talking to Soapy about this as the draft is still going. I was like,
yeah,
well, everyone up in the top 8, I actually agree would be in the top 8. And there were a lot of picks that I had the same, like Obi Toppin to the Cavs, Devin Vassell to the Knicks. Like, these are picks that were okay. They're thinking the same thing. It's also how much this was an experiment of how much does our analysis get like fed into the person. You know what I'm saying? Because like you listen to someone enough, you just start thinking what they think, or you're swayed, I should say, one way. But you're like, swayed, yes. I don't hate the Okoro pick because Washington needs defense. But the fact that Onyeka Okongwu was there, I'm just like, huh? Yeah. Yep. Soapy, one I want to ask you about. I'm going to let you take this one, Soapy. This is the reach of the draft, though. Trey Jones of the Pelicans at 13.
Yeah, see that's the one of.
I love the demon. I love you, Philly shit.
Oh yeah, no, dude, that's exactly how it was about. That's exactly how it was about to start. I don't see how Trey Jones goes even in the first round. Because I don't
walk that back a little.
All right, this early in the first round,
30 talent.
Yeah, okay, fine. Let me retract a little bit. This early in the first round.
Yeah, I don't see how he goes that early as well.
Yeah, especially because it's one of those things. Like, obviously, yes, he was picked by the Pelicans, which we don't know exactly what their opinion on Hayes is. Like, we don't know if he's going to be there long term. We don't know if he's their center option of the future. I think once you get past, I'd say past the Knicks, because obviously they're really high in Mitchell Robinson. After that, none of these teams except maybe the Suns should have looked at Okongwu and been like, nah, we don't want that. No, they should have been like, how the actual hell did the second best center in this draft fall to us? Like, the guy that's expected to be a defensive stalwart and arguably the best defender in this draft. How the hell did that guy fall to us? Like, yeah, I get the hype of Okoro. I do. I'm on the same side of Dave. I'm not really high on him. Obviously, I'm also the one who's made the shit-tastic joke of he's Stanley Johnson 2.0. So, if that doesn't place my opinion of him somewhere. But I don't see how Trey Jones goes this high, and I don't see how Onyeka goes after him. That's just confusing to me.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, the other fallers in this, too, are, like, because with the Pelicans, the thing, except for BPA, which above Trey Jones, Onyeka would be BPA, Patrick Williams could be BPA, who else fell for? I think
we got, what was it? Basically Celtics, Magic, Blazers picks. All three of those, Onyeka, Tyrell Terry, Patrick Williams, could all be top 10 picks in this draft.
Yeah. Tyrell Terry, I will say, that's a Dave exclusive in there. Dave's been higher on Terry than most. So
some
then
other
they-
people also have him up there.
Okay.
Other people do.
Yeah,
People are very high on him.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that all three of those guys could go top 10, and I think two of the three will go top 10. I would not be surprised if Terry does, but again, it's an opinion, so whatever. But Onyeka and Patrick Williams both flying out of the top 10 would shock me. But again, like you said, you go pick by pick. Like Anthony Edwards, one overall, does seem the most likely. Okay, we talked about today. He's heavily rumored there. Warriors mystery ball wild card at 2. You don't know.
Apparently
what they're gonna
LaMelo, Dave. LaMelo's who they love.
Dude, they love everyone.
be. They love everyone.
They love
equally.
everyone.
If you're in this draft, they love you.
Hornets, if Wiseman's gone, would they take Onyeka right then and there? Like he could be off the board right away. Onyeka gone at 3.
Yeah.
Not even have this conversation. Then the Bulls at 4. Love the Denny pick. I'm all about it. Cavs are the ones where I'm like, it makes sense, but I also don't want it. But it's also like, am I overthinking this? Is this just like, is he the offensive version of last year's? I blanked on the man's name on the Memphis Grizzlies. He's old as hell for rookie.
Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark. Is he the offensive Brandon Clark?
He may be. Like, I just always looked at Obi Toppin to the Cavs as they're going to be moving on from K Love. And
at some point.
this is a team that I swear to you guys, if us three are sitting there on Wednesday and the Cavs pick comes and they take either Tyrese Halliburton or Killian Hayes, I'm going to flip shit, guys. I'm going to be like, what the fuck do you need with another point guard? Or a combo,
You need
even
someone
if
on
it's
this team who
combo
has the A
guard.
button. Dude, you need someone on this team who can pass the goddamn ball, because Sexton ain't doing it. Garland doesn't want to.
He knows.
Like, dude,
He knows.
I look at it and I go, it's the only pick where I'm like, I feel like if it's not Toppin, it's a Kungwu. Like, they're going to move on from K-Love eventually. Apparently, they like Drummond. The question is, does Drummond want to stay long-term, which right now he doesn't want to sign an extension, but we don't know what's going to happen by mid-season.
Right.
The rumors are if they can't sign him by mid-season, he'll be on the trade block in like February, or even that time might change because of the
I don't
season.
even know the deadline anymore.
But like, I feel like if it wasn't Toppin, then a Kungwu would have been the pick here, in my mind.
No, I'm with you.
definitely. I think it's one of those things. Oop, my bad. You can finish.
Nope, you.
We are polite podcast.
Yeah, it's the only reason why I don't like the Obi to this team is mostly just because of the point I brought up earlier. No one on this goddamn team passes the ball. like as much as I always kept saying the whole like I don't want them to draft another point guard because I think somehow you can make that really small backcourt of Garland and Sexton work. But once again, it's one of those things. Your coach needs to teach one of them how to pass the goddamn ball. 2. And obviously, I don't want to make this a slight against Kevin Love. We saw Kevin Love get so pissed off with them that he yelled at, I think it was he yelled at Sexton in the middle of the game.
He's been on record yelling at his coach, all of his teammates, to the point where he was telling them how to run the set and telling the coach why it wouldn't work. And it's all on tape. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's sad that a person who, like, obviously, don't get me wrong, K-Love in the past was fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
It's sad that a person who never has to initiate the offense is telling you a person who's supposed to know how to actually run the play. Like, and obviously, the coach this year was a little iffy, to say the least.
You don't say.
Yeah, just a little
hiring
bit.
a senior citizen to be your cutting edge basketball head coach was a great move.
What did he call him? Did he call him, what was it, thugs? Is that what he
Thugs.
called the
Thugs.
And he's like, no, I meant to say slugs. It's like, yeah, sure you did, buddy.
Slugs because they're sluggish, yo.
Sure, we all believe that and your racist tendencies.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's the only reason I don't like the fit of Obi there is just because it's one of the things. Obi's a phenomenal offensive talent.
Yep.
You can't be phenomenal offensive if you don't have the fucking ball in your hands. Because Sexton's like, man, I may as well be short Kobe, and Darius Garland's like, nah, home dog. I took the pass button off my controller. I don't have that thing anymore.
Would Isaac Okoro work for the Cavs? Like, because the thing I'm looking at is, yet again, I've been kind of looking at, like, okay, what do teams actually need? Like, BPA is a Onyeka Okongwu here. Even if, like, Okongwu went at 3, LaMelo Ball or Denny Avdia would have been BPA at 5. If it is Onyeka, Obi, and, like, Okoro, we all agree Okongwu is the BPA, but if they go against that, would Okoro be a better pick for them than Obi Toppin, even though it's not a ball handler, it's just them adding defense to this team?
I don't believe so. I think that I will always take more offense than good defense for a bad team, because he has the ability to learn to play defense and learn to play within a system and a scheme. Dayton, he wasn't really asked to do a ton, and he still got like exposed. But I think Obi Toppin has hopes to be a passable defender, a non, Trae Young level defender out there. That's within his realm. But Isaac Okoro is someone who we've seen his type of player hit the NBA in exactly what Soaps had mocked earlier, is just he could be Stanley Johnson 2.0. Someone who does have physically just a gifted form, and he does play great on-ball defense like man-to-man D, but the NBA has transitioned to a point where you need to be able to switch, you need to be able to play team defense, and that's heavily weighed. That's why I'm personally a fan of like a Devin Vassell over Okoro, because I love team defense rather than that one-on-one stopper, because I think there are situations for both where they're valuable, but 8 out of 10 times, I'd rather have someone who can switch, someone who is smart, someone who communicates and keeps his hands out in traffic,
Soapy, what about you? What are you thinking?
I'm leaning towards the side of, I think it's also who's the small forward on their team that a lot of people were super hyped about?
Chetty.
Yeah. If you believe Chetty is like maybe not like the future of your small forward, but like if you heavily believe in him, then I would definitely lean away from Okoro, because I think I'm also sort of on the same side as Dave. I think offense for a bad team is much more important, because obviously, for instance, it's one of those things that I think and it sounds weird to say, I think it's harder to find a good offensive player rather than a good defensive player. And the reason I say that is, like, for instance, we've seen in the NBA, you can kind of hide bad defenders on a team if your team defense is good enough.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we saw with the Clippers, like JJ Redick on his own, not good defender when he was on that team. But when they ran that team's system defense, looked solid. Like, he looked like, okay, Redick doesn't look that bad. Goes to other teams, they hide him well on defense because they know how to hide bad players on defense in today's NBAs. I think that's the thing of where, obviously, for instance, if they already had like a solidified, like, okay, these are our guys of the future, I could see taking someone like Okoro. I think my only problem is right now, I don't think Darius Garland or Colin Sexton are the options here. Like, I think Sexton, in my opinion, obviously, I don't like giving up on players after 1 year.
Yeah.
But I think from what I saw out of Garland, it's like, okay, you basically have the exact same player twice with him and Sexton. And I think and obviously, like you said, I don't want them to draft another guard. But let's say a Ball does fall to them. That is the only player I'd accept. And obviously, as much as I don't like Ball, personally,
you take BPA.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things that, one, you get someone who can pass the fucking ball. And then I think that's where you make the choice of, like, okay, which of these guys do we move? Because I think Garland is a player, I think he would do good on other teams. I think it's you need a coach who's going to be able to teach him something. And he needs to be in a team that, he's able to work with someone to improve his game. I think he's one of the players that, because remind me if I'm misspeaking about this. Do the Cavs have any veteran point guards on their roster?
Delly's
a free agent. They would have to re-sign him.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
It was Delly and Brandon Knight end last year, and I'm guessing both of them are free agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Brandon Knight's not on the team anymore because he got traded in the Drummond deal. He was the bag of chips in the deal.
Oh, yeah.
The bag of chips. Let's see. Yeah, because I know Delly is a free agent for sure. Dante Exum is the only one. It's right now Exum, Garland, and Sexton.
Exum didn't look terrible.
3 point guards.
The interesting thing on that team that we're talking about filling in a spot at 3. They had a very interesting prospect.
Are you gonna bring it up, Dave? Are you gonna bring up what I think you're gonna bring up?
So Kevin Porter Jr. was potentially the best draft pick they made last year. But
he might be done.
He had a run with the Cops.
Yeah, but just a run it.
Well, he had last I heard,
Yeah.
was possession of drugs.
Yep. Which Dave,
Which
no
is
big
fine. I
deal
don't
'cause
mind.
it's weed.
Having weed in a car, I don't care about it. Literally zero care. Don't even care what your local law is. If it's a whatever, I have zero value. And I think most NBA teams don't give a rip. But handgun in a car. Now that raises questions. I'm not necessarily saying guilty, but having a gun in the car, I think the phrasing was illegally discharging.
Yeah.
So he might have fired a gun out of a car. Now that pretty bad sounding.
Yeah.
I don't know the story, and I have not heard more of the story. So I don't know if anything has come out since. I heard the initial claims of these are the official things they're being charged with.
Yeah.
Knowing that, I'm not giving up on him, but at the same time, I don't know what the whole story is. So until I hear the whole story, I don't know what I'm doing with Kevin Porter Jr. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one too, because if it is bad enough, because Dave, I do agree with you on the weed side of it. Like,
yep.
Is it a big deal? No. The only thing
no deal.
The only thing I don't agree with though is when you're like and it's a small potatoes thing, T's and P's, where it's basically well, I don't care what your law is. Well, if the law said like you should basically, you're a basketball player. If you know you're going to get in trouble with the law, your team's probably not going to like that. That's the only thing I go, okay, maybe we should play smart with this, not like a.
Should they play smart? Yes, but
that's what I'm saying.
People to conform when you're traveling across the entire country and in several places it's legal, and the NBA doesn't test for weed on any drug test. So it's like acknowledged by the league as this is perfectly fine. So your employer is saying it's okay. Multiple states are saying it's okay. It's
yet again, I would kind of look into go if you get caught with it, you can't basically say, well, it's legal everywhere else.
Didn't D'Angelo Russell get caught on a plane with?
No. Oh yeah,
and that didn't affect him.
Yeah.
No. I'm not saying it should affect him. I'm just saying
I'm
saying
that has set a precedence.
Yeah, I'm just saying like if it was me, I'd be like, well, hey, I'm just going to try and not get caught with it. Like, the fact that he got caught with it, it's like, it sucks if it's that thing of, like, in the law. That's the only thing that's, like, I disagree with, to where it's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't try to get arrested. But that's a totally different story, Dave. We're totally different, not getting into that.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered there with him.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to touch it. That's why I wasn't going to touch it.
You should probably look at a wing. I would almost say Devin Vassell here if Onyeka... If Onyeka's gone, I would almost look at Vassell over an Obi Toppin, even though
over a Denny Abdia, because that's the thing. No, Onyeka, Ball, or Abdia are all gonna like one of those three.
I would take one of those. That's tough. Yeah,
it's basically Edwards, Wiseman, Ball, Onyeka, Denny. One of those is going to be there because there's not enough picks.
Right. I'm with you. Then I would take one of those three, and then worst case scenario, fall. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect.
Soapy, any pick we haven't talked yet that kind of raised your eyebrow a little bit?
I was actually surprised with how far Pokustevsky fell.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously this is more or less just I'm surprised no one else higher up in the draft really had saw a lot of potential in him, because I think, for instance, a lot of people mock him like in the lottery, like top 15 around there.
So mostly just because it's the next Giannis is what I'm hearing. A lot of people saying next Giannis.
I'm surprised no one was like, oh man, dude, he's the next KP, 7-footer, like shit like that. I was surprised no one was doing that. But like, once again, I'm like, that's the only reason why like I was surprised about it, is because it's one of those things of like, I mean, obviously there is a project going technically in there.
Yeah.
Nope. Actually, okay, technically Patrick Williams fell out, so he wouldn't count in the lottery because Blazers are part of the lottery. But like, it's normally we see at least one project go in the lottery, because, like, for instance,
Okoro this year or Denny. Some people, and I know that's incredibly wrong, even of my own thinking, but like, I think people look at like, shit, LaMelo Ball's a project, Denny's a project. Okoro is a project, like all three of those guys. Maybe even Hayes. I think maybe it's the generic U.S. hatred for foreign players.
Maybe, dude. Who knows?
Am I wrong there? But I'm like,
it could be. Like,
I've heard more negatives about those players than any other player in the draft.
Dude, I just want another who the fuck is Tingus Pingus moment, dude. That's all I want.
Who the fuck is Tingus Pingus? I mean,
Yeah.
Poku, I have him around like bottom. I'm with you, bottom of the library, bottom of the lotto. Of where like if the like, I know JD didn't take him because Onyeka was there, but like if Onyeka's not there, I would put Poku in the running for the Celtics at 14. Obviously, there'd be like RJ Hampton's one I like for them. Josh Green would be in the argument.
Hampton fell. Speaking of him,
He did. Fall.
Yeah.
Him,
He fell to the 24th.
Him, Neesmith, Poku. I would say even Josh Green falling all the way to the Celtics at 27 is a fall.
it's interesting.
Maybe even Precious a little bit, because Precious went a little later than some people have him. Like, obviously, I'm not super high on Precious either, but I think I could see him going early. And once again, it's also one of those things, it may just be that my big, dumb, stupid brain.
Yeah, for me personally, Precious wasn't a fall because I have him around that area anyways.
I'm with you there. But I've heard the rumors from teams about him. They're like, oh, he's a moldable, modern big. He's got great athleticism. Like, you hear all these positives about these guys. I do think that like Poku is a guy who I would love to see go much higher because again, the size, the spacing that he could provide if his shot looks like we just watched.
He's got to go to the Magic, right? Team Lane.
I mean,
Lanky
I just
boy
watched that game. What was it? Chet versus Amoni Bates.
Not Chet Holmgren, right? That's not his name.
Yeah, I think it is. Holmgren.
Oh, are you talking about fucking Bates' daddy? Is that what you're talking about?
Daddy?
And a lot of people were like, well, hang on. What's the difference between Chet and Alexei? Like, well, Alexei's got a better shot from the outside. Chet looks like he's built similar vein to like play style for Giannis, where he's a downhill driver. Yeah. And then he gets the paint and he closes, where Alexei has a little bit of a shot right now from the outside. And they're like, well, if Chet would be a number one pick in this draft class, why isn't Alexei a number one pick in this draft class? Like, there's a disconnect, obviously. And we're talking, Chet would have been coming out of high school, basically what we're saying. And Alexei basically is playing at like a double A level in Europe. So it's the question of like, okay, it's not high school, but it is, maybe like a quarter notch above high school, not NCAA level, but it's still like somewhere between. So why is he not, slated to be like a top 10 pick then? Some of the shit doesn't add up when you think about it like that.
We hate foreigners, man. It's just being proven.
I think it's so impossible to gauge because people are like, well, he's playing against bums and, whatever. It's like, well, yeah, but like Chet's playing against a bunch of kids who like literally 10 out of 12 of them won't sniff the NBA. Like there's Amoni and then there's one other kid on that team. I'm sure there's actually like 5 because they're loaded teams, but like you get my point. It's like the majority of the games they're playing are against non-NBA talent anyway. There's no difference.
Well, and that's why like for ball, I feel like I agree with you because like even in the notes that I've taken from all the scouting reports that I compiled from, here were the bullet points I had for Pokusevski. Versatile floor spacing big, can be used in different roles like floor spacer or running an offense. Plays the like a guard wing, so like Giannis, Ben, what we're seeing in that sense. Versatile defender, also a defensive playmaker. Also has good defensive IQ. Really, the only question was if he has size or adds size, he can guard everything except physical bigs and quick point guards. Like, isn't that something every team would want, depending on what you need? And like, that's why that's why the Celtics I look at and it's like, oh well, if you're choosing between Precious, Jalen Smith, and Pokusevski, like, yeah, RJ may be there. You might really like RJ, but Poku might be a better player down the line than RJ. Plus, the Celtics have, 3 picks because they ain't going to trade them. We'll meme that into existence when that doesn't happen, when they don't trade the picks. And we open the war chest, guys.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm telling you, dude, they offered Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, all 3 picks, Danny Ainge's family, and Brad Stevens as coach to the Pistons, and we turned it down, apparently.
Is Danny Ainge the reverse Sam Presti?
Yes. He takes all the
Sam
picks.
Presti will actually move them Danny Ainge is like, no, my picks. I like my picks. I want my picks
He
now.
doesn't have roster slots for them. What's he supposed to do?
I don't know. I don't like. Maybe they move up and get Onyeka, or now apparently, like, I love how even that they're like originally was we want to move up and get Onyeka Okongwu. Now it's like, ooh, the Celtics are really high on Isaac Okoro. Maybe they know something we don't about fucking Onyeka.
They've had pretty decent scouting in the top 5 of previous drafts. Obviously, they've missed quite a bit later on in drafts, but who hasn't? You know, it's a crapshoot back there. But yeah, it's frustrating because I feel like we all think they should do a thing and then they don't do the thing and they're all disappointed.
One pick I got to ask about, and Dave, I'm going to ask you to defend this, although it's not your pick, but it's our boy. It's Sean's long-lost brother from another mother, Jake at 21. Is Isaiah Joe a reach? Because I thought when he made that pick, I was like, Isaiah Joe's a reach, right? Or was this just a fuck, Tyrell Terry's not there? Like, I was really trying to figure out if Isaiah Joe is really that good of a fit for the 76ers.
Okay. I'm going to preface this with
I love you,
the
Jake.
pick after would have been better for them.
Okay.
Desmond Bane being on the board above Isaiah Joe. I mean, you should have just picked Desmond Bane. Both have their weaknesses. Isaiah Joe is a fantastic shooter from the outside. It looks like his game will translate fairly well to the NBA. I'm not super concerned. I don't think it's going to be like an RJ Hunter situation where the kid just can't fucking shoot on the right level. But I do wonder why Joe for pure shooting over someone who could bring more to the Sixers and could be of a better help with the offense and moving the ball around a bit more, perhaps. Desmond Bane seems to be a more well-rounded. I understand T-Rex arms suck. Like his arm length, bad. You're not supposed to have shorter arms than your height. That's bad for you as a basketball player. People like guys who are plus defenders. He will be an effort defender. It's not saying it's impossible. Jimmy Butler notoriously does not have a plus defensive wingspan. It is an effort game. That is all defense is. At the end of the day, you can be physically gifted, but if you don't work your ass off, you're a bad defender in most cases. So,
and to kind of throw it out there, originally Jake did not make the pick. Jake was taking too long because work and stuff and sleep and stuff. And originally we had I can't remember who it was. We had someone else make the pick. They took Desmond Bane. And then Jake was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, he replied to me, and I said, yo, the next pick is up. I can just, like, if you want to make the pick, it was originally yours. And then he said Isaiah Joe. And then JD had the next pick, and I was like, oh, well, Bane, who was there, he's now on the board. And JD goes, oh, yeah, I'll take Bane.
I might actually. Like, I mean, that's A, hilarious. But B, I forgot that for some reason, Josh Green and RJ Hampton both fell. I would take RJ Hampton over
for the Sixers.
Yeah, I would. Where the board stood right now, if you lopped off from the Sixers on, my number one pick on the board would 100% be RJ Hampton. Shit, maybe Pokusevski.
Maybe he went right at
and then Desmond Bane.
The run of the four after, even Ballmero wouldn't be. He wouldn't be one of my tops.
Ballmero can't shoot. He's a shorter, worse passing Ben Simmons.
But like Bane, Poku, Hampton, Green, even Malachi Flynn, even.
I agree. Shit, Cassius Winston. Literally all of these players. No offense to you, Jake. You are literally family. But no.
Family.
No.
You don't turn your back on the family.
Not the right pick here.
Soapy, I'm gonna let you start here. Any pick we haven't talked about you think we should before we wrap things up?
So I was actually going to bring up the last Celtics pick with Vernon Carey Jr.
I like this.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was bringing it up is, do you think that Vernon Carey Jr. is going to be better at the next level than Xavier Tillman?
I think it's close. I like Xavier Tillman, though. I do. I love Xavier Tillman, Michigan State boy. I love that you bring him up, Soaps, because you got to have that.
He's like the only prospect I know, so.
Yeah,
it's a good one to know.
Vernon Carey is just one to where I don't know how high he's going to go, but I don't think he falls out of the first round. That's what I think. I think he will be a Boston pick if they keep him.
I think he does fall out of the first round.
Okay.
I don't think that he's a Jahlil Okafor ruined his career already before it even happened. Like that's the problem. You've got an old man game, and there are concerns. And there's nothing wrong that you've done, but there are concerns. So I would take Xavier Tillman. I would take Aturu here. I would take Killian.
Stewart's on the board still, right?
Isaiah Stewart.
Would not take.
Dave's like not touching him with a 10-foot pole.
Again, why am I picking a
just throwing it out.
interior guy? I don't need that.
Well, I mean, I think Carey has
defense.
Carey has more stretch big potential than Isaiah Stewart. Like at least Carey's got a shot that you can work on.
100% agree. 100% agree.
It's mostly just the reason I brought up Tillman here is because one of the things the Celtics need is a big who can play defense. Because I don't know if a lot of Celtics fans know. I mean, like I've seen some people say Daniel Tice is pretty good, but you should probably look at some of the bigs in your in your conference. I don't know, like a little no name is Joel Embiid. I don't know, maybe another little no name is like Sabonis. I don't know, maybe a Bam Adebayo. I don't know, maybe you consider getting someone who could try.
Maybe
could try. Look, Tice does enough to almost win games. They just honestly, they never should have given up Baines.
Yeah,
that guy.
The Baines train.
The Bane train, or what that fucking nickname I said earlier, Bangers.
Bangers. Oh,
Ricky.
Yeah.
What do you think about your boy sneaking in on the back end of the first round?
Absolute fucking steal.
Raptors.
Absolute fucking steal. Nico Mannion.
Steal.
Absolute fucking steal. He is the one. Like
define steal for us, because taking like the 54th best player at 29.
Steal the draft. He's gonna be the best player from the draft, man. Nico Mannion knows what he is. He's a guard that can pass. He can drive to the hoop. This is a team that needs somebody. Dad's out of town, baby. Dad's out of town. Dad's leaving you because he wants more money.
But dude, you still got that absolute dump truck of an ass on your team, dude.
Dad said he's going to get cigarettes and he'll be right back. Guess what? He ain't ever coming home, Toronto. Fred VanVleet is gone. But Nico Mannion can be the assertiveness you need at the point guard position, and he can pass the ball, get Siakam involved, because as we saw in the playoffs, Pascal Siakam is good, but you need somebody to get him involved. You need someone to pass him the ball. I just love Nico Mannion. That's all I'm talking about. I mean, this is all it is. I'm just fucking hyping up a hype beast.
Learning from Kyle Lowry is always good. I think that's a great mentor to have up there. So I don't disagree with going for a guard. I just don't think he's the guard to pick in the first round. I mean,
Emmanuel Quickly is there too.
There's like 5
Grant Riller. Grant Riller is also there.
Riller.
Theo's still there, right?
Theo Maledon would be amazing there.
Oh my God. I am memeing this into existence. Grant Riller has to be the pick for the Raptors. You want to know why?
What now?
He looks like Fred VanVleet.
Oh man, dude, he's got a point.
Facial hair, the same hair. They look oddly similar. Dave, pull up a picture of both of them. They look oddly similar. And
then also pull up a picture of Drake as well, dude. I'm just saying, dude.
The fucking connection.
You got to keep that connection. I'm just saying, dude. He's got a point.
They look like they could be fucking brothers. They do. Yeah, one's got like a chubbier face, but like, yeah, they totally look like they could be brothers.
Yeah, and then even if they don't go with a guard as well, I also can see them possibly going with a center because I don't know what their plans are with Ibaka and Gasol.
Man, they got two of them up on free agency.
Like obviously, I think Ibaka's going to stay. I don't think he's going anywhere.
He could get banked.
Yeah, I would like. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I think he's getting banked, but I'm also not sure what Gasol's going to do. Because once again, like Gasol's just a wild card. I don't know where the hell he's going.
Was the rumor that he's going back to Spain? The rumor that wasn't true?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know exactly what he's going to do because I think it's like not like, oh, you have to choose between the two of them because you could just keep both of them.
Yeah.
But I think once again, not just trying to speak Xavier Tillman into the first round. Why not draft Xavier Tillman, a guy who's known for his defense, into a team with 2 really good defensive bigs? One that's won Defensive Player of the Year before.
I can't wait to see where Tillman gets drafted. Like Tillman, Nico Mannion, and basically the Bulls pick. Those are like the three that I'm like, those are my guys.
You're locked in at,
And obviously LaMelo Ball, but hopefully that's number 4 to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, guys?
LaMelo Ball, any of the one or the other, I'm happy either way. If we don't take one of those two players,
Man, dude, Patrick Williams, baby,
is there
the
any,
future.
Is there any guy, Dave, and Soapy, I'm going to ask you the same question, but Piston style. Is there any player, not the two that you want, that if they drafted, if the Bulls drafted not Ball, not Abdia, you'd be like, okay.
I would allow for Wiseman and Edwards. I think Obi Toppin would be egregious.
Okay.
I think that one is one where I'd be like,
that's one where Ricky's happy.
I thought these were supposed to be better front office people.
Maybe they're seeing something we don't, Dave. Maybe they're seeing something we don't. In AKME, we trust.
I don't understand, Ricky. If they took Obi Toppin at 4, I would lose my shit.
Soapy, your question is just, who's someone not Killian Hayes you'd be okay with the Pistons taking?
If Tyrese Halliburton's there, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, my whole thing is just the reason, and I'm going to explain it because I've said before, I don't want to Kung on the Pistons, and I'm going to explain that pick, mind you, because, you know, there are going to be people like, wow, Soapy's retarded, which, to be fair, I know some people get mad at that word. I probably fall in that category somewhere. But that's besides the point. I think it's just mainly guard, and the reason why is us trading Bruce Brown today, I think really shows me we're locked in on getting a guard, which I know it sounds weird, like Bruce Brown's like just kind of a no-name, he's just kind of there. But, like, for instance, that either shows me we're getting a point guard, or we really believe in Jordan Bone. Which, if that's the case...
The Bone Zone!
Cool. Yeah, we're about to have Ken Bone Zone going on.
Ken Bone Zone!
But, yeah, I think it's just we need someone to facilitate for this team, because, for instance, if we do trade Rose, who the hell's passing the ball?
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yep. I don't like that's the whole thing. Bone isn't a really good playmaker. Like he can make the easy pass, but once again, I hope a fucking point guard can make an easy pass.
Because you guys,
like, I think
correct me if I'm wrong. You traded Brown today, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
We traded him for Musa in the second round pick, and like it's 20.
Loves on a Musa, but you literally have no point guards after D Rose gets dealt out.
Yeah, unless we truly believe in Jordan Bone. But yeah, I think any or a good amount of the point guards. If I had to go outside point guard, I think that's kind of where it gets tough because I kind of would have to settle for a Kongwu if he's there.
Would a Devin Vassell piss you off?
No, it's more or less of my thought process going into it is like obviously point guard first. If it's outside of that, I don't want someone like Okoro because God forbid I already had Stanley Johnson on my team once. I don't want him twice.
But he could be the next Jimmy Butler.
Okay,
I literally saw.
He could be the next Jimmy Butler somewhere else.
I sent you the thumbnail. Bull Scripted did a video where it was Coro. Could he be the next Jimmy Butler or the next Stanley Johnson? And
no, he's like, the next Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Oh no!
Not an MG.
Yeah,
not an MGK.
Yeah, don't worry. I was gonna say it's like what he's making Rap Devil.
Dude, he is. Rap Devil not that good.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude does have some fucking good bangers, but like, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Given the pool of point guards at the top of this draft, I think that our boy Alexis did a wonderful job with the Suns. I think he nailed it with Kira, and I think that works into exactly what happened today with the deal. Chris Paul is your point guard now. Kira is your drafted backup point guard. He can go out there, play alongside, learn, and grow, hopefully. But do you buy into the same theory I do that like Tyrell Terry, I'm just gonna it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Is Tyrell Terry like an option for the Knicks if Hayes, Halliburton, and LaMelo are off the board? Do you think that they would look at a Tyrell Terry or Kira? I have one preference. Obviously, everybody has another, but
so with the Knicks, it's interesting to me, and I'm gonna pull up my notes here because I do have notes on every fucking team. So for the Knicks, I had in this situation, where are they? The guys that I'd be looking at is like, so you said Hayes is off the board.
Exactly how we have it. Hayes, Ball, and Halliburton have all been taken.
If Okoro's there, he's in the running. Vassell, like, I don't think they need, like, I don't think the Knicks need a point. If a point guard's not there, they don't need one. Because
Okay.
I do like what fucking Kingy did in this draft. Let me go ahead and get a Devin Vassell. Because later on with my second pick, there could be like Flynn, Riller, Winston, Nico. Like there'll be a point guard there that I may like later on, to where if both Hayes and Halliburton are gone, it then becomes down. Okoro's my number 1 on the big board. Vassell's my number 2. And then it just becomes out of the 3 and 4, RJ Hampton and maybe a Precious. Like this is the high side of Precious, where I could see a team like the Knicks with Thibodeau going after him. But I like Kingy's side. I would say if both of them are gone, take Vassell, adds defense, adds offense. I'll get my point guard later on in the draft. Like
Cool.
Kingy did get a Malachi Flynn. Soapy, I don't know if you're thinking differently.
Yeah, I think Vassell would be the pick here. I wouldn't pick Okoro, and it's just because if you
hate
believe,
Okoro, we got it.
well, no, not even just that, but
Dave said
the
same.
reason, like the only reason I wouldn't take him here is because it's one of those things of, if you believe RJ Barrett is the player of your future, that he's going to lead you to the ship,
Yeah,
or at least lead you pretty damn close to it before you get a better player.
yeah.
You need to get spacing on this team, because one of the things that he's good at least is driving.
Mm-hmm.
And if you draft Okoro, who the hell is going to space the floor?
Yeah, good point.
Because it ain't Okoro.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okoro's going to be hanging out in the paint with Julius Randle.
And Mitch Rob. Don't forget about Mitch Rob.
Yeah, dude, everyone's going to be hanging out in the paint.
RJ Barrett, come on down. Let's go.
I
Let's
was
hang out in
saying,
the paint.
RJ Barrett's whole game is predicated on him getting in the paint.
Oh,
Yeah.
which would
Hell,
be
Dennis Smith
hilarious.
Jr. will be down there too. Whole fucking team's that's gonna look like the 80s and 90s down in the paint. Dude. Everyone's, oh yeah, dude. Alfred Payton's gonna be running the ship.
Oh man,
I had to
man.
take a shot. That's why I'm on the other side, guys. If I didn't get my thought already,
go
my
ahead.
spoiler was I think that TT should go here. I think Tyrell Terry.
Dave's like, if I haven't talked up TT enough, Tyrell
I
Terry,
will keep
please.
preaching the Bible at TT.
But
I think
don't
that Tyrell Terry-
hold that Bible like Trump did, man. You can't hold it
upside down and backwards.
Yeah.
Don't want to start some QAnon theory on this show. Sorry. It was not a signal, or I can't. I think that.
Jesus Christ, Dave.
I think that the Knicks need a point guard so badly, and they need spacing so badly. I think Tyrell Terry has New York Knicks superstar written all over him.
Okay.
I totally understand that Devin Vassell is very high on a lot of people's boards for great reasons, but they need an offensive superstar and someone who can run an offense, space the floor. He rebounds well. He does everything they need.
Yeah.
And he's added size in the offseason. And he's one of the only people who I've heard a lot of interviews and a lot of talks about, I've worked on these things to improve my game, but I've seen his tape. And that's maybe the difference for me. I don't know how much tape you guys have seen during this quarantine, off season, whatever, pre-draft phase we have here. But he's one of those guys who, like, it jumped out to me. Like, I watched his tape and I was like, it's very impressive, but like, why didn't I know about him earlier? Is there something about his game that like should have scared me off, or did up until this point? But then I saw his updated tape with him doing workouts. Like, fucking muscle, man. Like, this guy.
Yeah, he bulked
we
up.
always talk about like, oh, if they could add 15 pounds, well, they're like 19, 20 years old. Of course, they need to add some strength, but he just did it in the summer, and like, it's not all the strength training he needs ever. It's just like, it was a really positive sign early on. That's like, okay, this guy's taking his shit seriously. Like, he saw a concern, he went out there, he got fucking racks of weights, and he just lifted. And his game looks good, his shot looks good, everything about his setup looks good out there. That's why I'm like, I think the Knicks have to take a point guard at 8. That's my mindset. Yeah,
and should be a fun draft season. Should be a really fun one. Wednesday, us three, we're watching it all right here on the channel. Well, actually the Twitch channel, but you guys know about that stuff. Link down below in the description. I'm gonna call it quits here. We've been going for almost an hour. Almost. Did you say ow or did you say oh?
Wow.
Oh, okay. I thought you said ow because you immediately put your finger in your mouth. Like, did Dave hurt his finger? Soaps, thank you for coming on with us. I'd like to get you involved with more of the sports stuff, especially like basketball, because you do watch basketball. You have a basketball mind. Just want to get you involved with that more too.
And people in Discord for putting this thing together for us.
Yeah, we literally couldn't have done it without them. Literally could not have done it without our Discord. If you're not in it, join it. Link down below. And also patrons. Patreon.com/MVPvids is how you support us. I will say that's how a couple of teams like Jake and Sam and JD got the teams that they liked and why they got some multiple teams because priority. But yeah, thank you guys for everything. Thank everyone in Discord. Can't wait we're 2 days until draft. Well, when this goes up, a day until the draft. Cannot wait for it. I know Dave and Soapy can't, but that's going to do it for us. Tell us what you guys think down below. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.